Hi, I'm Shahil. I'm a bartender. I've been working in the bar for around 4 or 5 years now. Initially, I started from a lot of clubs, but then I had the opportunity to work in some of the fine bars in Hong Kong. With my first career in cocktail bartending started from Stockton. 2 years spent there, which is where I learned a lot of things. But eventually I had to move on, and right now I'm representing Fox Club. What makes me really interested in bartending, it's not only about making drinks, but the atmosphere you create with people. Back in the days, it was mostly spirits, unique spirits, different kinds of spirits, but the modern bartending has become more complicated things. For instance, now incorporate a lot of things like vegetable, herbs, a lot of things which comes from the idea of a kitchen and that we incorporate in a bar. So I really motivated by this, and which is why I find this job to be kind of a very good job for me. So what inspired me for this series of cocktail is that Fox Club, we have different era of cocktails on our menu. My series of cocktails is according to that as well. So first off, we have the golden era of cocktails. So that's the time when people enjoy the flavors that's inside the spirit rather than mix it up with different ingredients. It's more of respect to the spirits back in the days. So our second series of cocktail is gonna be an homage to prohibition. So this is the time when most of the bars in States was closed. A lot of people started creating their own mix of concoctions on their own closed doors. Most of the time we call it a bootleg spirit or bootleg alcohol. So this is when people came up with crazy ideas. So they were always trying to find ways to incorporate the alcohol with. On our second series of cocktail, we are trying to play flavor like that. So incorporating a little bit of citrus in our already fine product, we make it easier for the local people who are just getting into the cocktail environment so that they can enjoy the cocktail as well. And lastly, we want to let people know how the cocktail environment has developed. So first it was only spirits, next we started incorporating juices and all, and now we're incorporating a lot of things that people might find funny. For instance, you have wasabi in vodka. Our last menu to represent is a taste for exotic. My first experience for Remy Martin comes from me sipping bourbon actually in a club, but then for me it was not a thing for me. A friend of mine was like, hey, try cognac instead, which is the best one. He was like, try Remy, it's good. It's very good, very affordable. And then when I first tried it as a sipping whiskey, I found that it's much more milder compared to a lot of other whiskeys and bourbons. So cognac for me has been kind of the more palatable spirit drink for me. After I tried Remy, I tried to incorporate it with sidecar as well, because I was just getting into the fine bartending line. So I read that on Harry Craddock's book of bartending guide. He also has the recipe mentioned in the book of Remy Martin and the sidecar. So I tried that and I developed a good taste for it. And ever since that, Remy Martin and sidecar has been my kind of choice of spirit and cocktail. As mentioned on my previous question, the cocktail that kind of got me into Remy Martin is sidecar, but that was when I was just beginning to drink, and drinks were pretty easy, which we have citrus and some kind of sugar in it. And eventually, I wanted to move towards more complicated drink of my own. So what I came up with is we have Remy Martin infused with osmanthus tea, and then we have a little bit of honey for sweetener, and then we're topping it up with a bit of a splash of soda or champagne. Why this cocktail is representing me is because I like my cognac by glass, but at the same time I do prefer a lot of things that's bubbly as well, because whatever's included in bubbles is always exciting, whether it's champagne toast or whether it's wine or anything. So me personally, I happen to be that type of drinker. So and Remy Martin with some honey, a little bit of osmanthus, and some sparkling water. That would be my cocktail of choice.
My name's Billy. I've worked in the food and beverage industry for just over 14 years. Half the time I was actually in England, so I moved there when I was 10. I spent most of the time working there, so the club scene and nightlife there was amazing. I loved it. So naturally, after that school, I gravitated towards the clubs and the pubs. So that's where I learned my crafts, my trade about the cocktails. 6 years ago, I came out to Hong Kong, connected my roots, and unfortunately, cocktail scene in Hong Kong is thriving. So I started working in hotels and learned about the really fine arts of services, and then really focused my trade in the cocktail bars. So more recently, I helped open the whiskey bar in Jaffa for London Park. Until now, I opened a Dajiki, exclusive hidden bar in Tai Kung. So my series of cocktails is actually inspired by my time living in England. Drinks is a very big part of our culture, a very big part of life. Always bring friends, always bring family together. So I'm hoping our drinks as well will bring everyone together. So free drinks we always love. You know, we wake up every day with a nice cup of tea, a nice breakfast tea. So one of the cocktail will be a very strong English breakfast tea base. Summertime, we always have friends around, barbecues in the park, in Prince Gardens. Always filled with a nice booze as well around the food. We always make a nice fruit punch, fruit cups. So my second drink as well will be a very based on the summery vibe, the fruitiness, the freshness of our drinks. And then the third drink, we're moving into the colder winter times of England. So especially around Christmas time, we always gather around for Christmas dinner, have a feast. And we always wash it down with nice port wine as well, something sweet, something silky. So port wine as well will be a key feature in my drinks. The series of drinks will be all interlinked together to what us represent as a culture in England, what we drink together, and how it brings us all together as friends and family as well. The very first experience with Remy Martin, I think it was when a guest I remember a few years ago. So he came in, he was a big Remy Martin fan. But he was quite bored of just drinking Remy Martin on his own. He wanted something interesting to do with it. So I made up a cocktail on the spot, Negroni base with Remy Martin, a little bit twist on the vermouth and the bitters. And he loved it. It was something that we shared together. Also memorable was he kept coming back. He became one of my regulars for many, many years. And that was the drink, and that was the only drink I ever had. Every time I had friends who come to Hong Kong as well, they would bring his friends down, and they would want us to try that drink as well. Remy Martin really brought us really close together, and there was something really great to share with him as well. I think the cocktail that probably most represent me will be going back to the drink I made a few years ago for a guest. It'll be something like a Negroni based, which is we're using Remy Martin. Remy Martin, because it's such a versatile ingredient. It's bold, yes, it's very elegant at the same time. It's going to be the backbone of my drinks. Gives it a nice body. It's kind of like me as well. Negroni is simple, straightforward to the point, but yet it's got layers, it's complex at the same time. I think with Remy Martin as the main ingredient, it can really lift up my cocktail, lift up my drinks. So I'd love to share that with you guys as well.
So 19th of September, Disiki Lounge. If you guys want to have a good time, grab a lot of drinks from different bartenders, it's going to be the date for you.
So I'll be the Remy Martin guest bartender at Fox Club, 3rd of October. I'll see you guys there.
One life,
Live them.